So I know I'm an asshole for saying the things that I say, but I have to be the asshole that says it because nobody else is. That's kind of my whole spiel, is that I will say things that people are afraid to say, not because I just want to say them just to start shit. That's not my MO. I'm not trying to start shit. I've never said a lot before about women's sports or the sport in general because there hasn't really been any issues that really reached out to me that I felt were wrong. This is wrong. She is wrong. If you vote for her, you are wrong. Sports are all about fairness. That is the whole point of this thing. It's fair across the board. It is not happening as long as she maintains her spot because people are afraid to stand up to her and people are silenced because of her. So what made me so mad about Laura is that she has the audacity to hide behind other people, to use the word diversity, black, indigenous people of color, and inclusion and all that stuff. Like, who has issue with the diversity in disc golf right now? Why is that your stance? Why should that be anyone's stance? Why is that the first thing that you mention in your statement? And what really set me off is how she brings up that it's a predominantly sport played by white men in the USA. Like, why do you need to point that out? I think it's a little ironic that she's pointing out white men, but then also complaining about diversity. You just use it because you can't say openly that you want there to be more transgenders. You want that to be an accepted thing across the board. So you hide behind that and use the black, indigenous people of color and that word diversity and inclusion. Those are your pawns to get what you want and keep what you already have and continue what you started. Are you walking around looking like there's not enough of this people or that people? That's fucked up. No one thinks that way in disc golf. How are you going, you haven't even laid out how you're going to reach out to more people of color and to make it more diverse. Like, what is your plan? How are you gonna, are you gonna step all over the white man? Is that what it is? Is that why you mentioned the white man? So that we can complain that, oh, well, it's predominantly ran by white men, and then immediately hate on the white man like the white man is stopping diversity from happening in the sport when it's not. What does it matter who is playing the sport right now? The goal is to get the sport to everybody, everywhere we can. It's not about, nobody is being prevented from playing the sport. Not even you. Say there's not enough diversity, not enough black and indigenous people of color, not enough women, but then you also go right back and say there's nothing preventing them from playing. There's nothing stopping them from playing the sport. So what is your purpose of saying it? You say it just to get people's attention, and then where it's like, oh, well, yeah, oh, she wants diversity. Yay, hooray, diversity. So obviously we can tell that you're full of shit. Otherwise, why mention it and then totally take it back? All in a matter of sentences. I mean, are you trying to say the sport is racist right now? There's not enough to your liking? Like, what is enough to your liking of diversity? What does that mean to you, Laura? How diverse does it need to be to where you're okay with it? To where there's like a thumbs up, a stamp of approval for people? Like, what the fuck are we doing right now? The only thing important right now in disc golf is fairness. Fairness across the board. That's where you come into play, where you don't care about fairness, which is that conflict of interest that you have. You know, that thing that you signed, which was bullshit because you clearly on TV, on YouTube, I have the video of you saying that you didn't want to get involved, you didn't want anything to do with it, but then literally moments later, you say that you did. You did have a foot in the door and you had an influence. That is a conflict of interest. I don't know how was it not? Someone out there clarified to me how that is not a conflict of interest. Tell me, how is that not a conflict of interest? I have the video. We've all seen it. Or at least we should at this point, but because you all want to ignore it and act like it didn't happen. And she wants to act like I put words in her mouth. I didn't put words in her mouth. You said what you said. I just showed it to everybody and said, this is what I think it looks like because that's what it looks like. Because we all have eyes and ears. So all I'm saying, folks, is open your eyes. Look at what she's saying. Look at what she had said. And just see through the bullshit. I don't know how else to say it to you. It's clear, obvious bullshit. She's using black indigenous people of color to get elected. Just like any other shitty politician, conflating their bullshit out to everybody as though she doesn't have any other agenda. It's pretty simple. You don't represent fairness in a sport, you need to go. Fairness is what makes a sport a sport. And if you can't represent that, if you're trying to use all this other bullshit to argue to keep yourself where you are so that you can maintain this status and keep pushing this agenda of yours, you're in the wrong position and you should be gone and voted out. Vote for anybody but her. Please do. There's a reason why nobody wants to talk about it, why the Disc Golf Network won't talk about it. If you're a media outlet and you don't talk about this, you are a coward. You are a coward if you do not talk about this. What are you so afraid of? Laura? What are you afraid of, being canceled? Is that what you're afraid of? That's what you're really afraid of. That's what you're afraid of. The fact that there's a fear at all about this is just more proof that shit needs to change. You should not be afraid to say what's on your mind about the sport. And the second you are, you have been silenced and you're a coward. You're a coward. I'm sorry. I love a lot of these media outlets, but you're all cowards.
The women who signed the letter anonymously said that they absolutely supported your right to transition, but they simply think it's unfair for you to compete against cisgendered women.
You can't go halfway and be like, I support trans women and trans people, but only to a certain point, where if you support trans women as women and they've met all the NCAA requirements, and then I don't know if you can really say something like that. Trans women are not a threat to women's sports.
No matter how much you're on their side, they don't fucking care about you. They don't care about you. You could kiss their ass all day. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. You're just one of their fucking minions is all you are. Just doing their dirty work for them. That's what you are. You're their dirty work. Keep doing their dirty work and let me know where it gets you and what it does for you and for the people around you. What does it do for society as a whole and disc golf as a whole? What is it doing that is good? Comment below.